Are you ready for the biggest crisis in your lifetime? If not, you must pay attention. What I'm about to show you today might shock you, but I am here to inform. In today's video, we're going to look at the changes that have happened over the last couple years. I'm sure you've seen them. And now things are becoming so difficult, and yet the math is showing us we don't have a way out. That is, unless we pay attention. So let's begin. The very first thing I want to talk about are the unfolding instances all over the place, and this happens to be just one. United Auto Workers launch unprecedented strike against all big three automakers. You've probably seen the changes with employment. You've probably seen the inflation. There are all kinds of things that have been unfolding over the last either a couple months or couple years. Everything's becoming more expensive. It's becoming more difficult if you're in the middle class, and you are seeing the damage being done right before our very eyes. As we can see, no question that some are going to argue about inflation. It's going to be deflation that's coming, but the bond market is signaling deflation. There's no question. Where I differ from a lot of the other individuals out there, I am suggesting that after potential deflation, we will see the central banks react accordingly. And that means they are going to pour gasoline on the inflationary fire. Not initially, but this is the direction that they are heading. So watch carefully. Either way, it doesn't end well. You can see that crime and poverty have rapidly increased. I'm going to show you some examples of that today, but you probably have to just look around your city to see it for yourself. Civil unrest, strikes, and disruptions are worsening right now all over the place. You don't want to be idle. You don't want to just sit there. Let's learn about this, and then we're going to actually see what we can implement today to make a difference in our lives. Are you ready? Let's go. Here we have it. We need to see pain. Multi-millionaire says unemployment must rise. And in this video, if you haven't seen it already, it's been spread everywhere. Basically saying, hey, we've got to see people taking action. We got to see the workers doing more. It's the same thing here. Frontier Airline CEO says everyone got lazy. And now what, he had talked about in that was, we have more people doing what we used to back in 2019. We would put 3 people there, and now we need 4 people there. So the productivity is down. That's what he's saying. You can agree or disagree. Put that in the comments below. Manufacturing activity is at a level that it always has led to a recession since 1956. The manufacturing sector is one indication of things that we are experiencing, but it's only one. LA built a licensed tent city for the homeless, okay? And you could see these homeless tent cities all over the place. It goes not just LA, but I mean, it is really, truly everywhere. And not just in warmer places like LA, it's everywhere we are seeing this right now. Thieves swarm luxury malls, driving retail crime to $100 billion. I'm sure you're aware of that. Now, while you might say, hey, you know what, if these luxury brands, they lose some profit, too bad for them. I don't think people realize what this signals is that the cities are decaying, and we are noticing that everywhere. Every time I'm out in the city, I'm looking and people are cutting each other off. They're elbowing each other. They're pushing each other. They're yelling, all of these things. This is a decay of the society itself, and people are tolerating much of it, and they are getting involved in it, and we can't have this. This is a very bad sign. We need to be part of a community that actually wants to do better and wants to do more for the community. And of course, that will benefit us. We got to do what we can. There are many steps to that, and I'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Here we have it. Gas prices surged to almost $6 a gallon in Los Angeles. Prices are up all over the place. And of course, in line with that, you can see the OPEC data indicating a growing supply shortfall. So 3 million barrels per day right now. Saudi Arabia, one truly at the center of that all, suggesting we are going to continue this for the remainder of the year. So we know that prices, while they're just a few dollars at the time of this recording, a few dollars shy of $100 a barrel, it looks like it will go well beyond 100. Will we see $150 a barrel? Well, only time will tell. If these prices start to go too high, that creates the sluggishness. It's just like the debt, and which I'll show you in a second. Why is debt important? Why should it matter? There are two reasons for that, and we can look at this. All right. I want to give you an idea of what's been happening. We can show you the charts. I can give you the details that you need to know. All right. Because when you see debt, it isn't just one simple stat. This is something that has encased the whole financial system. You see, when we get to these levels, this is something that, number one, can't be paid back, but at the same time, there's always interest that's associated with that debt. It's the same for an individual. If you take on a credit card and you don't pay your bill, it goes on and they ask for more money, and you've got to pay that, or else it will tack on further and further and further. It's just like the national debt. And these become burden. But at the same time, there are corporations, there are businesses, there are hedge funds, there are, all these financial companies that have debt, using it as a tool. But right now, what we learned with SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, back in March of 2023, how devastating that can be when these things start to fail. We were playing around with debt and we got burned. Oh, that's right. When you were a kid, or you hear that story of don't touch the hot stove, and if you do, you learn your lesson, right? I know for myself, I learned that a key fits exactly inside of an outlet in the wall. That certainly taught me a lesson of not to stick my finger in there anymore. But did the banks learn their lesson? Did these financial companies learn their lesson? Of course not, because they get bailed out. They don't have to feel the zap. They know that they're going to be given more money at the end of the day and probably be better off as a result. That's wild, isn't it? But you, the individual, struggling to make ends meet, your gasoline at $6 a gallon, which, by the way, for Europeans are saying, hey, is it on sale? Different story. We're looking all over the place and seeing these conditions worsening. All of these strikes that we're noticing are part of a grand civil unrest that are taking place all over. It's going on in Paris, it's going on in the United States, and just about everywhere. We can't try to get too focused on, okay, this is the problem right now. Step 1, 2, 3. That's what the article says. That's what the news person says. We know that they are simply reading their script. And that's why you're here. You are a truth seeker and you want to know what's important for you. And that's why I'm bringing it to you. Do you appreciate that? Simply hit that thumbs up button to support me. And I will continue to bring you the latest and greatest so that we can thrive, so that we can prosper. Look here, I'm just showing you, this is just several charts here. We can go to this one. Central banks have been hiking around the world. We know that. And of course, that means they're tightening. That means it's becoming more restrictive. And that means always, 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 when we encounter tightening, we have a slowdown, we have recession that follows. Recession, job losses. Okay, that's usually the case. We have a global economy yet to feel the full tightening effects. And of course, if that is the case, we go into 2024 more difficult than 2023. We add on top of that a serious circumstance of debt. The key Treasury curve inverts for the record period of time. All right. So just looking at this, the bond market's saying, oh my goodness, recession is here. Deflation is here. We got some serious problems. The Federal Reserve is saying it is different this time. Investors are saying it's different this time. But is this indicator wrong? What do you think? Is the bond market going to signal the truth, or is it the retail investor? You tell me. I think it's interesting. I'm going to be here to show all that, let me tell you. the US debt has exceeded 33, I can't believe it. I can't even believe it, but here we go, $33 trillion. And now we are headed towards $1 trillion in, I mean, just look at this. Annual interest payments going towards $1 trillion. Not long ago, it was at 500 billion. All right, it wasn't that long ago. It seems like just yesterday, a few years ago. And now we have doubled that to $1 trillion. And it doesn't look like it can stop anytime soon. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so what? Well, they can't pay that. And if they are paying, by the way, they always prioritize paying the interest on that debt instead of, for instance, the infrastructure of your city. How does that feel? Do you like that? Do you think that's okay? Because that's what they're doing, and they're not going to change that. And so that means we have to be prepared for ourselves, knowing we're going to have to pay interest on this, fantastical debt, this non-existent debt. And we are going to have less money as a result of it. By the way, when I say we, it's every country. They're all doing the exact same thing. I've studied this. I've studied the empires going all the way back. All the way back. I've read countless books, audiobooks, listened to the seminars. We learn from the people who know the best. Spent, well over a decade learning all this stuff. And all I want is for people to know the truth. That's it. We can't get around this. Look, the Federal Reserve right now is in a tightening cycle, and people are simply expecting something to give. And that means that we are going to see major deflation. Why? Because we're being sold this story that you're going to get everything for 80% off. You're going to get a discount and you're going to be A-okay. But it doesn't work like that. If you actually research the cycles, you got to know that there are times in which we do have asset prices that collapse by this much. But at the same time, who can take advantage of that when you've got such a serious problem going into it? You have mass job losses. You have people rioting in the streets. You have people uncertain of what's going to happen tomorrow. You need to realize that it's not a simple matter of, okay, my chart went from 100 down to 20, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy. It's all hell is broken loose during that period. You got to realize that. So we need to take action based on what we know for sure. We have that certainty. But I wanted to show you the Federal Reserve is the one out there. They are printing all the money leading up until this point. And now all of those, groups are saying, it's the Federal Reserve. They're tightening too much and so on. It had nothing to do with all those years and years of money printing. No? Are we going to ignore that? Oh, no, it's the tightening that's the problem. We've got to realize a few things, and I want to tell you what you can do as an individual. There's so many, but here are just a few. Don't sit there and be idle. We got to get to this stuff. Very important. We got to thrive. We got to prosper. And I want people in my community that are part of that same mission. All right? Learn a skill that isn't getting replaced soon. We've got the robots. We've got all these things that are coming due. The workers are striking. Oh, don't worry. They've got a solution for you. It's Flippy the robot. It's going to be all of these different robots coming in. Even the military is going to be replaced by those robots one by one by one. They're doing that. But learn a skill that is a little bit further down the line. Do you want to be an Uber driver right now, a food delivery person right now? Do you want to be something in white collar work that looks like, just a regular clerk of some sort? No, we don't want that. Okay, we want to be in something that it's just too difficult, too complex, that likely won't be replaced at least for the next few years. That gives us some time. So we still have a source of income potentially. And then with that income, we're going to do the right things over these next few years. I'm going to bring that to you. I'll be here hopefully to give you what you need to know. All right, you got to tune in. Make sure that you work towards having expenses lower than your passive income. Easier said than done, I know, but that's a goal we work towards. Those in the mentorship group, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And what do we got to do? We have to look at this. We have to say, okay, here are the circumstances. Here are my bills. Here are my expenses going forward. This is my income. All right, I got to lower my expenses and I got to increase my income. It's twofold. That's what I talk about consistently, okay? And of course, we got to be more self-sufficient to reduce our burden. That's going to help us. We got to grow garden. We got to be able to, harvest water if that's what we need to do. We've got to be able to, have solar panels or whatever it is that's going to, yes, potentially be an initial investment, but that it will lower our total burden, because we don't want to be part of that $33 trillion in debt. We don't want to have anything to do with that. We don't want to carry a balance of, the stats I've seen have been anywhere, leading up to $10,000 a month in credit card debt at 22% plus interest. We don't want that. We want to thrive. We want to prosper. If you agree, hit that thumbs up button. Look, I want you to check out the Discord group. Discord is a place for you and I to connect, to join like-minded people. And of course, everybody on Discord at the time of this recording gets the early access to Compass. That's going to help you. It's going to get you on your way. So click that link in the description below. I want to see you there. Let me know when you're in. Say hi. Comment of the day from Anthony. Here we go. I think Putin and MBS can hold their agreement to cut production long enough to force WTI between $125 to $135 a barrel before demand plummets and the price comes back down. It looks like, thank you, by the way, for that comment. It looks like that's actually going to happen. That's the direction we're heading right now. This is unbelievable. We got to watch it. We got to be careful. These details, I hope you enjoyed them. You got to watch. This is a crisis for our lifetime, and we need to be prepared as best we can. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.